were there horrendous acts committed. I mean, 10 times the number of people sitting in this room now were murdered on the October the 7th in cold blood, and double the number of people sitting in this room were taken into Gaza as hostages. And the number of people in this room, as we sit here today, are still held as hostages. And that's the precursor to what's happening there today. And I'm deeply concerned about what is happening in Gaza and what we see on our screens every night, and the risks around Rafah. And I'm very pleased to hear that there's robust discussions going on with Israel, and I think an insistence on Israel providing safe harbour and doing everything that can be done, and more than they've done in the past, in order to look after the citizens of Gaza, who are not to blame in this, is incredibly important in that. But we must not forget the origin and the trigger of the problems we see today there. We must keep that in balance with the deep concern that I personally feel with the suffering that we see on our screens today in Gaza. That's very important to do.
And in terms of Latika's question, do you think the UK government should follow the example of the US in terms of stopping supplying some weapons if a major ground operation goes ahead?
Well, I'm not aware of which specific weapons the US is stopping. They've got a lot more weapons they're shipping than we are.
Well, they've just recently stopped some
They've stopped some big bombs, which sounds like a very sensible thing to stop doing. I mean, a couple of points on that. I certainly think any weapons that are required for defence and for the Iron Dome, I see no reason why wouldn't do that. And we saw horrendous attacks on Israel from Iran that were dealt with partly by British and American forces as well, as we saw. And I think defensive weapons should still be allowed to go through. On the broader question, we send very little in terms of armaments to Israel. In reality, it's the Americans that do that. As I stand at the moment, I think we should support, in general, the Israeli government in being able to defend themselves against... Remember, Hamas is a proscribed terrorist organisation that has insisted on deciding to eradicate Jews and eradicate Israel. And we've got to remember that when we deal with this. And that's absolutely not the fault of the Palestinian people in general. They deserve more protection than they're getting. I agree with that. We must remember those facts.
Woman there, and yes, in the corner there.